How do Skrillex, Bicep, Fred Again, and so many top artists make their tracks instantly addictive? It's how they use modern production techniques to turn vocals from ordinary to unforgettable. Over 20 years of producing and releasing records, I picked up loads of these tricks the pros use to give their music a real edge. So today I'll show you 3 irresistible vocal techniques to make your hooks hit harder and keep your listeners locked in. Oh, and I'll be using our Shaperbox plugin in this video. Try the free demo at the link below. Okay, this first vocal trick is, in my opinion, one of the most creative ideas in electronic music. I'm talking about the iconic vocal lead in Where Are You Now by Jack U and Justin Bieber. Skrillex himself said this was Bieber's voice, chopped, distorted, pitched and rebounced to make a completely new instrument. They call it the dolphin sound, which makes sense because it's a sound with real porpoise. Something that reminds me of this is a song that my wife insists on playing repeatedly in the car. The track is Just Keep Watching by Tate McRae. There's a vocal lead in that always reminds me of the dolphin sound. So anyway, to make a lead inspired by this, you want a short melodic vocal phrase that sounds catchy when repeated, a bit like this one. So first I've used the new pitch shaper module to pitch the voice up 6 semitones to fit my track, and then I've drawn this bend down at the very end of the phrase. And I'm also sweeping the voice's formant, giving this unnatural rising then falling effect. We'll look at formant shifting in more depth later. Next, something interesting. Usually with vocals, you want to hear exactly what the voice is saying, but for this kind of effect, you want to do the opposite and destroy intelligibility. And that's where distortion comes in. Driving it hard smushes all the harmonics together and makes it sound like a thick, wailing synth. That's made it quite harsh, so down here in the chain, I've added some EQ to dip out this high mid-peak. Then I'm using just a gentle filter to roll off the low end, added by the distortion. Next, volume is one of the most powerful effects for adding expression. Here I've drawn this volume curve to give the voice just some bounce and help it sound less flat and static. After that, I'm using multiband compression, mainly to rebalance the mids and treble. And then the magic comes from this ginormous hall reverb. I did try ducking the reverb, which usually works a treat on vocals. But for this unnatural style of voice, it sounded better as a big, washy blanket over the whole thing. Put it all together and you get this super hooky effect that draws you in, because it's got this organic feel of a voice mixed with the unnatural edge of a synth. Just quickly, here's another example. It's the same voice over different drums and music. And here is another example. For this one, I played around with reversed and faded sections of the vocal. Here it is dry. And here's with effects in the track. Oh, and by the way, if you want to try these presets for yourself, I'm going to save them in the pitch category of the Shaperbox library. And these load up in the free demo too, which is linked below for you to try. Okay, now it's time for vocal effect number 2. This one takes me back to one of the first genres that got me hooked on dance music in the early 2000s. God, that makes me feel old. I'm talking about trance, specifically the trance-gated vocal. Since then, it's been brought back to life by many artists such as Bicep, Fred Again, Calvin Harris, Subfocus, and many more blokes with beards. So the idea is to start with a sustained vocal like this one, and chop it into a 16th note rhythm. Just to make the effect more epic, I'm going to put a huge reverb on the voice before the gating to give us more to chop up. And I'm going to turn on this delay later in the chain that will echo the gated patterns, making it feel even groovier. Okay, the old school way to transgate is to load a gate plugin on your vocal. Set up a muted click pattern on another channel, playing any rhythm you like. Make sure it's muted in the mix, and use that as a silent sidechain signal to rhythmically open the gate. To do it here with Volume Shaper is super fast and it gives you control over the shape of each step of the gating. Just flip the LFO rate to 16th notes. Choose this downwards saw shape and bend the curve down a bit. Something to note with transgating, chopping a long sustained sound into small pieces can make it quieter, so you probably want to bump up the output volume a touch. And another thing, if your track has a swung groove, you want to give your chopped pattern some swing too. To do that, I'll switch the rate to 8th notes. I'll click this 2x button to double the wave, and then drag the second curve to the right to add some swing. And guess what? We can go beyond basic gated shapes and make more creative rhythms. So I'll trash this wave, then set rate to half notes, and I'll draw a fancier pattern. And here are a bunch more patterns, each with different curves and angles. From here we can use MIDI trigger mode and switch between these using MIDI notes. But I'm going to use automation to jump through these waves. So here's the gated vocal in the track. It's got that old school trance feel, but with a modern edge that really hooks you in. Again, I'll save this preset in the Shaperbox library. This time I'll put it in the chop and gate section. Okay, now let's dive into vocal effect number 3. This one is a staple in house and tech house. Producers like MK, Chris Lake and others like to give voices this late night, claustrophobic, dodgy basement club feel. And this effect has also crept into the mainstream. Artists like Frank Ocean and Kanye have also used it. So to demonstrate what I mean, this is my natural male voice.
But if I shift the formants up, it changes the perceived gender of my voice to female, sort of.
That felt strange. Here's an example in a house track. This is a breathy female spoken vocal, and I've added this close, short reverb.
Take me beyond the places that we know.
And as I shift the formant down, we get this classic deep voice effect.
Take me beyond the places that we know.
Now, formant shifting a voice down can make it sound too dull and make it hard to hear what the voice is saying. So here's a trick to help with that. I'm going to add volume shaper after pitch, and I'll add a high band above 4 or 5k, and then I'll turn up trim to lift up the treble. This brings back a bit of bite and crispiness in the top end that we lost from the formant shifting down.
Take me.
Here's the voice in the beat. I don't know about you, but it gives me 4 AM, dodgy underground smoke machine vibes. And here's another example to show the power of formant shifting when combined with other vocal sampling techniques. So I started with this a cappella.
Decisions make you my mission.
I wanted to take a bit of inspiration from Skrillexy chopped vocals, and you could do that by chopping the audio directly on an audio track. But for more control, I've loaded it into a sampler tuned to fit the key of the track, and then I sliced it up and replayed the slices to make this hook. This new riff works really well in the track, but it sounds a little bit too deep and dry, and this is where formant shifting comes in clutch. So here I've shifted the vocal's timbre and brightness up without changing its pitch. Then I've got some reverb to put it in a characterful space. Then a little bit of drive. This is reacting to the vocals level. There's a tickle of compression to even it out, and then some basic EQ and OTT. And formant shifting isn't just a static effect, you can use it to switch up your arrangement. Here in Pitch Shaper, I'm automating the envelope follower's shift control to make the vocal get deeper through the track. And in the tune, it sounds like this. Once again, I'll save this preset in the pitch section of the Shaperbox library. Go to cableguys.com to find out more about our award-winning Shaperbox plugin and to try the free, fully functional demo with no time limit. And for more tips and tricks, go and watch this video.